morning. So, the topic for discussion for this subject seminar is high flow nasal oxygen therapy and non-invasive ventilation in ARDS. Moderator for this seminar presentation is Tanmay sir. So, starting with the introduction, ARDS, which is acute respiratory distress syndrome, is an acute, diffuse, inflammatory form of lung injury that is associated with a variety of etiologies. Recognizing and promptly treating ARDS is critical to reduce the associated high mortality. Coming to the clinical diagnosis of ARDS, which is given by the Berlin definition, ARDS can be diagnosed once cardiogenic pulmonary edema and other causes of acute hypoxemic respiratory failure have been ruled out. So these are following points which come under the Berlin definition, and all of these should be present to diagnose ARDS. So first is respiratory symptoms, which should have begun within the 1 week of a known clinical insult, or the patient must have new or worsening symptoms during the last 1 week. Bilateral opacities must be present on a chest X-ray or a CT scan. These opacities must not be fully explained by pleural effusions, lobar collapse, lung collapse, or pulmonary nodules. The patient's respiratory failure must not be fully explained by cardiac failure or fluid overload. The severity of the hypoxemia defines the severity of the ARDS. This is given by the PaO2 by FiO2 ratio. So mild ARDS is PaO2 by FiO2 ratio between 200 to 300 on ventilator settings that include PEEP or CPAP of more than 5. Moderate ARDS is PaO2 by FiO2 ratio between 100 to 200 on ventilator settings that include PEEP more than 5. Severe ARDS is PaO2 by FiO2 ratio of less than 100 on ventilator settings, which is again PEEP more than 5. Patients in whom ABG cannot be obtained, the ratio of the SpO2 to the FiO2 can be used to diagnose ARDS. Coming to high flow nasal oxygen therapy in ARDS. Most patients with moderate to severe ARDS require invasive ventilation. However, non-invasive techniques can be used for some of the patients. Most patients require a high fraction of inspired oxygen, which is FiO2, especially early in ARDS when the pulmonary edema is very severe. Prior to intubation, high flow nasal oxygen can be provided through a face mask or a high flow nasal cannula. Preliminary data from studies suggests that a subset of patients may be treated with close monitoring successfully with a high flow nasal cannula and potentially avoid intubation. It is considered reasonable to attempt treatment with a high flow nasal cannula in carefully selected patients with ARDS who are conscious and alert, hemodynamically stable, and do not require immediate intubation. However, further prospective studies are needed to define the exact role of high flow nasal cannula in patients with ARDS. So again, most patients with ARDS require intubation and mechanical ventilation. During the peri-intubation period, pre-oxygen is required with 95 to 100% of oxygen to maintain adequate peripheral perfusion. For that, high flow nasal cannula can be used. Findings of a 1-year observational study, which was called the Lung Safe Study on high flow nasal cannula in 2014, showed that high flow nasal cannula can be used at all stages of ARDS, including patients with severe ARDS. In such patients, intubation rate was comparable with the other techniques such as the NIV. Oxygen is typically delivered via either low flow systems or high flow systems. Low flow systems include conventional nasal cannulae or masks, and high flow systems include Venturi mask and NRVM. Such conventional systems do not deliver a reliable FiO2. These are generally poorly tolerated for prolonged periods due to inadequate warming and humidification of the inspired gas. So, commonly used in infants, the development of newer systems for adults that reliably deliver warmed and humidified oxygen, which is the high flow nasal cannula, has led to its increased use in the adults as well. So this is a diagrammatic representation of a high flow nasal cannula. So as we can see, the nasal prongs are fitted into the nares of the patient, and they are fixed by using a strap behind the head. And this is there are two parameters which we can adjust on the hypronasal cannula. One is the FiO2 and another is the flow rate. This here is the humidifier where the oxygen gets humidified by the use of sterile water, and then it is delivered to the prongs for inhalation. So this table here shows the mechanisms by which hypronasal cannula works and the various benefits of the same. So first is the nasal cannula uses small pliable nasal prongs. These are considered very comfortable for the patient, and patient usually tolerates it well. Then heat and humidification of the oxygen which is done. It helps in the removal of the airway secretions. Also avoids airway desiccation and epithelial injury. It also decreases the work of breathing for the patient and enhances the patient's comfort. Next is washout of nasopharyngeal dead space. This improves the ventilation and the oxygen delivery for the patient. Also, high flow nasal cannula gives a positive end expiratory, which is PEEP effect, and this also causes decrease in the work of the breathing and enhanced oxygenation. Also, the oxygen is delivered at high flow, which gives a reliable delivery of fraction of inspired oxygen, which is the FiO2, and it improves the breathing pattern of the patient. So, as we saw in the previous slides, oxygen flows from the source. It is heated and humidified, then delivered to the patient through the wide bore nasal cannula. Cannula is made of softer, more pliable plastic than the cannula used for low flow systems. The cannulae fit comfortably and firmly into the nares and are held in place with the help of a head strap. So two parameters need to be set. One is the flow rate and the other is FiO2. The flow rate should be set first, typically between 20 to 35 liter per minute. The range is from 5 to 60. The FiO2, whose range is 21 to 100%, is the next thing which has to be set. And according to the peripheral saturation required, we need to titrate it. The flow rate can subsequently be increased in 5 to 10 liters per minute increments if the respiratory rate fails to improve, or if oxygenation fails to adequately improve, or if the breathing remains labored. Increasing the flow rate and FiO2 will both result in improved peripheral oxygen saturation. Maximization of flow rate should be done first in an attempt to keep the FiO2 less than equal to 60%. However, an increase in FiO2 may be necessary to achieve the adequate oxygenation. High flow nasal cannula is generally well tolerated and can be administered for prolonged periods, such as many days. Patients switch to conventional low flow nasal cannula system once the flow rate reaches less than 20 liters per minute and the FiO2 less than 50%. Aerosolized medication can be given directly to the patients with the high flow nasal cannula by the use of an oral mouthpiece. Coming to the contraindications and complications of high flow nasal cannula, they are very few, but contraindications being abnormalities or surgery of the face, nose, or airway that would preclude an appropriate fitting nasal cannula. And also, following upper airway surgery, the high flow nasal cannula is avoided. Complications of high flow nasal cannula include abdominal distension, aspiration, barotrauma. The risk of barotrauma is quite low as compared to NIV or mechanical ventilation. Coming to NIV or non-invasive ventilation, most clinicians use invasive ventilation for patients with ARDS. particularly those with moderate to severe ARDS. NIV, which is ventilation via a mask with breath delivered by a device, may be reserved for a few patients with mild ARDS who are hemodynamically stable, can be easily oxygenated, do not need immediate intubation, and have no contraindications to its use. The risk versus benefit should always be considered. When NIV is implemented, frequent evaluation, including both clinical and blood gas, is necessary, and clinicians should have a low threshold for intubation. One RCT in a small study group comparing ARDS patients on NIV with high concentration supplemental oxygen via Venturi mask showed that patients treated with NIV had improved oxygenation and lower rates of intubation. In contrast, a study of patients with hypoxemic respiratory failure, many of whom had ARDS, reported increased mortality in association with NIV when compared with patients treated with high-flow nasal cannula. A subset analysis of data from the LungSafe study reported that the use of NIV in patients with severe ARDS was an independent predictor for mortality. The type of mask which is worn may also have an impact on the outcome. Helmet-delivered NIV has proven to show to reduce the need for intubation compared with NIV delivered through a full face mask. Helmet-delivered NIV was also associated with higher rate of ventilator-free days, shorter ICU stay, and lower 90-day mortality without an increase in the adverse effects. So these photos here show the different type of NIV masks which are available. So these two are different type of face masks which are used, and this is the helmet NIV which is considered superior to the face mask. Coming to high flow nasal oxygen therapy and NIV in COVID-19. In patients with COVID-19 who have acute hypoxemic respiratory failure and higher oxygen needs, non-invasive modalities are preferred initially rather than proceeding directly to intubation. Decision to initiate non-invasive modalities such as high-flow nasal cannula or NIV should be made by balancing the risk and benefit of the patient, the risk exposure to the healthcare workers, and the best use of resources. Among non-invasive modalities, high-flow nasal cannula is preferred based upon the current data available of COVID and non-COVID related acute hypoxemic respiratory failures. Proning during both high-flow nasal cannula and NIV use should be encouraged. However, NIV may be appropriate in COVID-19 patients with indications that have proven efficacy. For example, acute hypercapnic respiratory failure in patients with acute exacerbation of COPD, acute cardiogenic pulmonary edema, and also sleep disorders such as OSA or obesity hypoventilation. Monitoring of patients. If patient is on high flow nasal cannula or NIV, vigilant monitoring of patients should be done to look for progression with frequent clinical evaluation and ABG to ensure safe ventilation. So the take-home message will be ARDS is a non-cardiogenic pulmonary edema which usually occurs within a week of clinical insult, having bilateral chest infiltrates on imaging which cannot be fully explained by heart failure. Hypronasal cannula is a good option for patients with acute hypoxemic respiratory failure, including ARDS, as it can give high flow and high FiO2 and is well tolerated. However, close monitoring is required. NIV can also be used with very close monitoring for some patients. However, the use of NIV in ARDS remains limited. High flow nasal cannula is the preferred non-invasive mode for ventilation in COVID-19 patients. These are the references which I have used. Thank you.